Welcome, Pak Ali, to the Indonesia Economic Forum, and thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much, Pak Shuk. And thank you for inviting me also to this event.
Yes, Professor Kishore, and I think Pak Gita have kind of outlined the broad structural changes, both geopolitically as well as macroeconomically and trade-wise, for Asia going forward. Maybe from your perspective, you're a player in the financial markets. How do you see these current trends playing out in the financial markets? How are investors responding to these changes? And where is the smart money going these days?
Sure, thank you. Well, very difficult questions, but I'll maybe continue from the earlier comments from Professor Kishore that no one actually can predict what's going to happen in 2020. If I look at the majority of the market consensus at the end of 2019, everyone's looking at 2020, it will be positive. It will be better. Indonesia's in terms of growth also would be better and slightly better in 2019. But yeah, no one actually, even in early this year, January, February, we still thought that, okay, it will be just a few months and then the market will rebound. But well, again, Indonesia is as one of the emerging markets and the recipients of a large, huge amounts of money and funding from offshore, US, real money, fast money. Of course, not immune with the situations that happened in 2020. So we saw quite a huge outflow from the markets this year in March and April, almost 11 billion US dollars of outflows, both in bonds, majority actually bonds and equity markets. And as a result, markets very volatile. As we all know, the liquidity in financial markets in Indonesia pretty much quite thin in the period of volatility, and it's resulting in a very volatile markets in our currencies, bonds market, and also in equity. But what I can see, at least majority of the outflow is coming from the financial markets. I'm not really concerned that much because I'm also a believer investing in Indonesia is very addictive. Well, I'm saying that because if you look at compared to the investment return, even on few of our portfolios, Indonesia is one of the I would have to say country that providing quite an interesting and highest net real returns compared to some of other instruments in the region. And it's actually that's what happened in the third quarter. We're starting to see inflows coming back. Not so much as what we have expected, but at least we saw about $1.5 billion of US dollars coming back, majority in the bond market, not so much on the equity market. And Bank of Indonesia also took the opportunity to spend a little bit of their reserve to in the FX market, so that we saw our rupiah also strengthening too fast to 39, slightly below 14,000. And then recently, very positive after the results in the US elections, we saw quite a massive, huge incoming bid into the recent auctions. So overall, we saw about up year to date from April, about 3 billion US dollars, roughly, coming back in the bond market from 1,100 trillion dropped to about 917, and then now back about 960 trillion. So at least that's a positive as per what we have predicted. They always cannot have enough of Indonesia, and the money's flowing back. So I think there's still a little bit of upside for Indonesia in 2021, especially in the new benchmark series. Money's they will start to hunt close to the end of the year before auctions being cut off, and then in January as well. Not so much though on the corporate sides. We of course engage with a few multinational companies in Indonesia, a few capital injections and investment being postponed, but at least I'm starting to hear and see light at the end of the tunnel in a few sectors of industries. At least we're starting to see in terms of the number of sales turning the corner from September to October. It may not be reflected in the GDP number, but I'm quite positive actually in the fourth quarter, in the first quarter next year, it will be, the numbers will starting to pick up. I'm not saying that it's coming. We are entering into the economic recovery phase yet, but at least we're starting to see the starting to turn the corner. So hopefully from that on, if we can keep the momentum and the government continue to be proactive in their initiatives, not just on the stimulus side, but also in terms of building the second main engine in Indonesia with the structural reforms. And we're starting to see one that just recently being announced on the Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja, that will create the momentum for more FDI into the country. And I totally agree with Pak Gita. Indonesia needs to be much more streamlined, competitive, because surely with the rise of deglobalizations and supply chains shifting, the opportunity is there, Indonesia, and Indonesia should try from this trend. Thank you.